and welcome to Tech Academy. Today's session is focused on all things audiences in Adobe Experience Platform, and we'll talk about things like audience composition, audience portal, lookalike audiences, and much more. My name is Wouter van Geluwe. I'm Adobe's Chief Technologist in Western Europe, and I'm joined here today by my colleague Jörn Doudert, Principal Solution Consultant in Germany. Now, Tech Academy has a monthly cadence, so next month's session is going to take place on October 26th and will be focused on trust and data governance in Adobe Experience Platform. Scan the QR code behind me to subscribe for that session. Also important to know is that this session is going to be recorded, just like always. We'll post the recording as soon as possible on the YouTube channel, where you can also find past recordings and other inspirational content around the Adobe ecosystem. And with that, over to you, Jörn.
So hello everyone, my name is Jörn Doudert. I'm a solution consultant for Adobe, and today I want to guide you through our newest innovation, so the audience portal, sitting in the real-time city feed. And before I want to do that, I wanted to show you this small icon here behind me. You have probably seen this icon before, maybe also not. So this is a brand new browser that was released in 2017, so quite a few years for now. But this browser has the main business object in stop being followed online. So this is how they call themselves. So, and they want to prevent any tracking solution in the market. So pretty much every third-party cookie that is probably set in your browser, any ID sync that is set in your browser, is automatically blocked. And if you have a look at the numbers for this browsers, it's some kind of exploding. And even in 2022, so the number raised again. And so we are having total numbers of 57 million users using this browser. And this is only the beginning. This is just what we see from our perspective as marketers, what could be critical in the next few years. And especially with the new iOS 17, for example, you have probably heard this term Apple link tracking protection thing, where you remove the URL parameters automatically in this new Safari version. So it's really getting harder for us as marketers, to be consistent, to build our experiences. And this is why we from Adobe changed our whole infrastructure based on this, that we can be present, that we build our database, our data foundation, based on the first-party identifiers, first-party data strategy, and this is also what we want to have a look today. So while I was preparing my slides for today, I found this wonderful quote from 2020 from Gartner, where this lady said, okay, by 2023, organizations that promote data sharing will outperform their peers on almost business value metrics. And this could not be more timely, to be honest. So this is when we are able to capture all the data in a structured way, when we are can ignore the third-party problem, then probably we have some business value inside of our company that can accelerate our business a lot. And I want to give you now a little bit of background what we from Adobe changed in the last years to fulfill this thing that we call audience portal here. And technically, a few years back, we were the best of breed, or we always bought the best of breed solution on the market, like the analytics solution, Site Catalyst for you that you may be familiar with, Adobe Campaign, Adobe Target, and so on. And during this time, we decided, okay, we need to find a solution how this point solution can work with each other. So, and for this, we invented the core service where you could share audiences between these solutions. But a couple of years back, we also noticed that this is not even enough. We need to change a little bit more, that we don't run into this issue that we always need some kind of a translator in between these solutions. We want one data model behind this solution. We want one consistent experience for all these solutions. And for that, we invented the Adobe Experience Platform. You may have heard of that. So it's our Adobe foundation for data foundation for structuring the data and giving a specific format for this data. Technically, this is written to two JavaScript libraries that are sitting in the browser, for example. So this is an example for the Web SDK, web data, It is one JavaScript library. It sits in the browser and serves all the data that is flowing into the Adobe Experience Platform solution. So this means, for example, we can capture identifiers, we can capture conversions, we can capture profile data, event data, everything what belongs to a specific customer journey sits in there. And this will be then sent to the edge network, and from there we can build segments, we can build audiences, and so on. So this was the technical change, what we did in the past. And from an audience perspective, this is where we want to focus today. We did also a quite big change. Started from 2013, where every audience was distributed in a specific solution. 2016, we invented, as I mentioned, the core services, where initially, for example, Site Catalyst or an Adobe Analytics data, audiences could be shared with Media Optimizer and so on. And in 2019, we invented the profile service, where this whole data foundation structure changed. And now I want to talk to you again because we reimaged this audience thing again. And let me quick explain what we changed. So a typical tech stack looks quite complex. It is not really a stack. It looks more like a landscape. And yeah, normally this landscape consists of different solutions. Each solution that we see here on my screen is set up for doing individual things. So, and in most of the cases, these are developed independently, and connecting them is pretty much the challenge. And it's always the same workflows that we see, that normally audiences, segments, and profiles and data sources needs to be connected to each other. And this is what you see here behind me with the different lines. My dotted lines or continuous lines represent the speed of the different solutions. So, for example, in one cases, we have workarounds for connecting these solutions together. In other cases, we use batch processes for communication proposals. In other ways, maybe we stream the data between the different solutions. But the important thing is that this is by far not perfect, and we need to find a better way, a smarter way, how these solutions can speak to each other. And this leads me to my next question. Are audiences the same thing than segments? So it's quite obvious one. It's not the same. So let me explain what the difference of these both elements is. So we see that an audience, for example, is working like an object. An object that can be shared through the whole organization independent of the source of data. So an audience is a parent group which itself can consist of several segments, and a segment, on the other hand, can consist of various attributes. And I think it gets a little bit clearer when I drill down to my slide here. So you see here we have, for example, an object. This is the road bike enthusiast. So probably me. So I'm interested in Tour de France. So I'm also looking for a new bike. And these two elements are segments sitting on top of this object. And now I'm drilling down again. One segment consists of a specific attribute. In this case, maybe CRM data. I'm a known bike owner. And a second attribute, for example, that I visited the Canyon showroom here in Hamburg. So this is a classic offline information data point that is probably shared with the CDP solution. So, and in sum, you see here that this object then is some kind of a newer level that should be shared, that should be used inside of your company. And with that, I want to introduce you here two new buzzwords that I really got my attention here. So AAAC and AAAS. So audience as a currency, audience as a service. So audience is getting quite important, and just a couple of weeks, months back, I would say, okay, this, I've never heard this buzzword before, but it's important. I think we will hear it quite more often in the next weeks and months. So, and let me explain how it works, or what the background of this is. In some, when we see the audience as a standard object that can be shared through the whole company, we reduce the complexity and the effort to coordinate the work between the different solutions. And the points here behind me are just some examples where you could use this kind of object. Independent of the source, that's the important point. I can use this object without having the knowledge what's behind this object. So, and it's you could see it as a tool for collaboration, a tool for management, a tool for governance, and in the end the interaction between the different solutions. And we will have a deep dive in all of these topics in my demo a little bit later on. But it's for you just important that we going away from this segment approach. A specific segment belongs to a specific source and specific attributes. We're going to this new direction. It is an object that can be used for any source or any destination that we want to target with. So, and another view of that is a layered approach. So when we say, okay, this is a currency that is exchanged in our organization, then we could split it up in 3 different layers. So the audience design layer, the audience management, and the audience distribution layer. So, and each layer consists of specific elements. In this case, for example, that we standardize this object with a specific manner. We can also use this object for a centralized audience management and control. For example, when we go into data governance topics and so on, and top taxonomies, how we structure these new audiences, and the last but not least, the flexible canvas where we can create these audiences, where we can build compositions. That's how we name this, and add some external data points if we like to. And where does this audience portal sit in the Adobe world? It is part of the Adobe Experience Platform, or the real-time CDP solution, which is your brain for communication and orchestration. So, and I did not even mention now the specific terms regarding AI or machine learning yet. So during the last, I would say, year, we always hear news about Adobe Firefly. We hear news about ChatGPT. This is new and this is new. Yes, of course, the whole AI topic also is part of this new audience portal. And we named this child the co-pilot. So it is a little bit similar, like what would you know from ChatGPT, that you type in a specific prompt and in the end you get a result out of that. And the co-pilot, for example, assists you when you want to create very specific audiences, very specific segments, where you're not probably sure how should I structure these segments, which elements do I need to consider when I want to build a specific audience. For example, I would prompt then, hey, Jörn, please give me an audience with all buyers that are not loyalty members, and so on. So, and with that prompt, the system automatically is generating your audiences. And with that, you have a lot of time saver and assistance while creating these audiences. All right. Apart from that, the Adobe Experience Platform, of course, helps you to organize all your audiences with a specific taxonomy and folder structure. So very, very easy and a good overview. You get a canvas for building one-to-one experiences, for example, with Adobe Journey Optimizer for doing that. So this is this slide here. You can upload and enrich your audiences. It's also something what we will see in my demo in a minute. And you can also, of course, activate your audiences. So activation means always you have some kind of speed behind. So option 1 is we activate this segment or these audiences in real time for destinations like Meta, like ads, or any other solution that you have in your mind. In the end, we have some destinations setups out of the box available that you can directly use for activating your audiences. We will see this in a minute. Yeah. You can build lookalikes based on your audiences that you've created. That's also what I've prepared for you. And we can, of course, share these audiences for old destinations. I say old destinations because we still have the third-party cookie in place. It's going away, but it's still there. And of course, you should not miss something. Use this as long as you can. And of course, this is also supported by the audience portal. Another thing is that we can, for example, share audiences between other solutions. In this case, I have here mentioned Customer Journey Analytics. That's our web analytics solution. And by natively, these audiences that you create are natively shared between both solutions. And you could, for example, use one audience as a baseline and build a lookalike based on that in the audience portal. And last but not least, this one is also getting more important, that we are able to share our audiences inside of the platform with other partners. So I'm referring here to specific partners that could be directly connected with your solution, with your platform, or that you use, for example, identity providers to onboard your identities inside of the platform. This is also something what is very, very interesting. And with that, I would say I switch my browsers and jump into my first demo. All right, so we are starting with the first point that we want to structure our audiences in a real clear and clean way. For that, I'm going into the platform. You see here, this is the audience portal sitting in the real-time CDP. On the left side, I have my folder taxonomy structure. And here I can select or I can create a specific folder for storing my segments inside of this folder. So I'm doing this here now for a specific upsell campaign that I plan to launch. And all I need to do is here just click on the specific segments that I have created before. And then I assign these segments to, or I move this segment to my just created brand new folder. So with that, I can create a clear taxonomy, a clear structure that any marketeer can directly start with their work independent to know how the specific segment was named. Yeah, another important topic was the data governance piece that was part of my presentation. So I also have prepared a demo for that. So when you click here, for example, on the right side on the table thing, you can select a specific segment and assign this segment data governance labels. So this means we are going away a little bit from this approach that we need to know which data point is sitting where, and I need to assign a specific rule to this data point. It's getting a lot easier now. So if I'm a marketeer and I just want to make sure that my segment is used where it is allowed to use, then I only need to assign this specific rule here to my out-of-the-box already finished segment, and I don't need to care where the data is coming from. And this is the important piece when we going back and thinking about this object structure. Don't care about what is underlying this object. We just want to use the ready or the just created audience for activating the data. Now comes the exciting part. We want to build a composition together. So for this, we go to the new tab, compositions here, and we create an audience. Our audience now here will use a baseline of 3 different segments. That's what I do now. So I'm just giving this audience a name. I'm selecting 3 already set up segments here, and I'm assigning these segments to my composition. I'm using union here, so a mix of all audiences, and exclude all purchasers of this composition. So the next thing is that I want to enrich this composition. For that, I'm selecting a specific data set. Just think about specific tables, classic SQL tables, and I use a join key for that. So a connecting element, in this case, my postal code that should join this data set based on this postal code. So that's what I'm doing here. So selecting this joining key as well. And all I need to do now is adding the attributes of this existing offline data set to my composition. I'm selecting everything because I want to have everything in. That's it. With this, not enough. I'm going deeper. I want to rank my brand new audience as well. And I'm using the customer lifetime value as an attribute for that. So I'm looking at my data structure here, looking where is my lifetime value. There it is. I'm selecting this one, and I'm selecting here descending order and limit my composition to a maximum of 1,000 people. So highly relevant composition that I use that I could share, for example, with my Facebook or Meta destination. What is the intention behind this? Now, of course, when I can share highly relevant audiences, I can set a higher CPC in the end, because I know these users are so relevant that they probably like to convert. So this is the background why we should consider this when we create our audiences based on this. Yeah, and that's what I did here. So I created this audience. This audience is now part of our audience portal, and we can go ahead. Yeah. Another point that was on my slide was the sharing between the different solutions. And I have prepared an example for you with Customer Journey Analytics, our analytics solution. And let me share my screen again. So this is Customer Journey Analytics. I'm using here a classic filter. Yeah, my call center call feeling was positive. So, and I want to create inside of Customer Journey Analytics an audience based on this call center feeling. That's what I do here. I'm just typing this name of this segment. I'm selecting a date range where I uploaded my demo data, that I get some numbers in. So that's it. All I need to do now is just publish or save this audience in Customer Journey Analytics. And as I mentioned in the beginning, when I go now to my audience portal, my audience is there automatically. So it is natively shared with the solution. And when I click on my just recent created audience, I have also the possibility to build a lookalike based on this. And this is independent of which destination or which segment we use for that. The baseline is always the same that we see here in this lookalike thing, the different attributes, the influential factors that are belonging to the specific segment. And we can just create here on lookalike, click on create lookalike button. And then we use this radio button here for selecting the similarity. And it's pretty much the same as we did a couple of years ago, where we always need to select, okay, how granular do I want to have my audience? As more granular it gets, as smaller gets the audience, but more relevance. And I need to find the balance. What do I want? Is it more reach, or is it more similarity? It is more granularity. So that's what I do here. I'm clicking save, and I've successfully saved my 78% matching rate to my lookalike model. So good so far. So we have created this audience in Customer Journey Analytics. We shared this natively with the platform. We used this as a baseline for building a lookalike model. And with this, not even enough, we want to activate or share this data with a specific partner. And this is also what I've prepared for you. When we go here, for example, and click on share with partner, I'm getting a new view of that. I just need to type in a couple of information, like the name of this sharing feed that I want to create. I need to add a couple of more parameters, like is this specific feed maybe restricted to specific purposes, like analytics purpose, here see it, email targeting, and so on. This has a background of in the end, data governance. So what is allowed, what is not allowed. And I just need to click in here, or I mark the specific identities that should be used for sharing, activating this audience with this partner. My audience that I used here is not enough. I want to share more audience with this partner, so I'm adding more to my workflow. I'm selecting the instance where I would share my audiences and clicking next. And here we are seeing just a summary of that. And I'm fine with that and clicking OK. And in the end, my feed is activated and is ready to use. So very, very smart. A lot of potential behind this, especially when we think about identity providers that you could probably work with. And so it's really going away this classical thing. Can you set up an ID sync and so on? Can you help me with ID sync? I can't find your identity and so on. So we all had this in the past. It's really gone with such feature. So I really liked it as I saw it a half year ago on our presentation. Yeah, and last but not least, it's what is missing. The activation on external destination is missing. So for that, I decided to show you that we can also activate an audience on Facebook. That's what I do now. So I'm just selecting here a segment or an audience, depending what you would like to achieve. In this case, I'm selecting this audience that I would like to share with Facebook or Meta. The setup is already established here. So from an API perspective, two APIs are connected. I'm selecting the hashed email address as my identifier, so a people-based destination. So I'm giving this here a rule. So this is directly shared for customers. So that's what you get from Facebook directly. I'm activating this audience now, and let us have a look at Facebook directly. Here we are, and you see my just created audience is directly available in Meta. So really easy workflow. And of course, Facebook is not the only destination where we can share the data. We have a couple of more destinations what you could use for connecting your solution to a specific destination. This is just an example here. The most relevant one we will scroll through is probably this one here, the HTTP API. So this is pretty much the open way to connect to any destination, any API endpoints that you have in your mind. And with that, you can share your audiences always in real time, as long as the other solution where receives the data can receive the data in real time. Yeah, with that, I'm done with my demo today.
I can already see we had Manuel's question outstanding in the chatbot. So Manuel, thank you for adding that clarification. The lookalike audiences call out, it was visible in the screen, you say. So maybe Jorn, you could open up the AEP screen and show where to find the lookalike audience insights. And while you do that, Manuel, this is part of a rollout that's currently active. So not all customers get access to the capability at the same time. The rollout started end of August and will continue until end of September. So it may be that this capability isn't yet provisioned in your own instance.
When I click here, for example, on one of these segments, you always get a second tab here at the top. And here, in this case, this segment has no data, but in the end, this is the screen what you're looking for. And when this segment has data, you can create here a lookalike based on that. So this is where you find it.
And that's maybe also a good call out. So that obviously we can't run lookalike audience insights on every audience. There needs to be a minimal population of 500 people inside the audience before it actually will return a result. So that's important to know. And also based on your license, there's only a limited amount of audiences that you can create through lookalike audience insights. Good. I don't see any other questions so far. With that, I think we are at the end of today's session. Thanks a lot, Jorn, for your preparation and your presentation. And thanks everybody else for dialing in and taking the time.